orange and cardamom cake is yummy and tastes so good.
This recipe calls for 3 medium-sized oranges. You want to slice them super thin. And you're going to take 2 cardamom pods and smash them however you can. Then you're going to take a cup of water and a cup of sugar and your 2 cardamom pods and bring them to a boil. And then you're going to add your orange slices, turn the heat down to simmer. And it says originally to cook it for 15 minutes, but I read online that if you cook it a lot longer, they're a little easier to cut and maybe a little sweeter. Preheat your oven to 345 Fahrenheit and get started on your cake mix. The original recipe called for 3/4 of a cup plus 2 tablespoons, but if you're doing gluten-free, I would just do a solid cup plus 1/2 a teaspoon baking powder. Then prepare an 8-inch springform pan. It calls for olive oil to be brushed, but honestly, you can just spray it and then put parchment paper around all the surfaces to make it easy to take off at the end. You're going to want to use a stand mixer or an electric hand mixer for this next part to get the eggs all nice and fluffy. So it's 2 eggs and then 2/3 of a cup sugar, 1/2 teaspoon salt. Now, the recipe calls for 1/3 of a cup plus 2 tablespoons of olive oil, but that is already 11/24 of a cup. So I think with rounding errors, we could just call that 1/2 a cup. You're going to drizzle it in nice and slow so you don't disturb the aeration of the eggs. Into that, you're going to add 1 teaspoon vanilla, 2 teaspoons of orange zest, and 2 tablespoons of orange juice. Now, again, the recipe calls for you to put in a teaspoon of ground cardamom and 1/8 of a teaspoon of baking soda in here, but I don't know why you wouldn't have done that in the dry mix, honestly. So you're going to fold those in and then gently fold in the flour mix.
I understand that, but how do you fold it? Do you fold it in half like a piece of paper and drop it in the pot, or what do you do?
And once it's just barely smooth enough, you're going to start to arrange your oranges in the bottom of the springform pan. You can kind of do whatever pattern you want. I did a circular thing. Most important is that the first layer looks nice. Everything else is just covering up the holes, I think. Save your liquid from the oranges for later. We're going to want it to brush on the cake at the end. Then pour your batter in and stick it in the oven. A smart suggestion I saw was to have a pan underneath it, just in case the springform pan leaks. I put it in for 30 minutes, and while that was going, I cooked down the orange liquid. It still needed another 8 minutes before it was done, but then the knife came out clean. And at this point, you brush on your nicely thickened orangey, sugary liquid on top to give it a nice glossy finish. And that's it. Very, very pretty.
Really hard to get through the orange.
Yeah, you just eat the orange. The orange is a little bit bitter.
Excited about it?
Yeah, the orange is... I wonder if I sliced it too thick.
Wow. I'm really into the combination. It's really fucking good.
Focus. The second one. I wonder if it's supposed to be this bitter on top. I think underneath is kind of try to bite without.
Yeah, it's
pretty special.
pretty special. Well done, dude.
I tried the same cake again a week or two later, substituting mangoes instead of the oranges, and I think it came out pretty well. I didn't cook the mangoes at all. I just let them sit in some sugar with a little bit of orange zest and cardamom until they got soft, like I was making a pie or something, and just arranged them as well as I could. This time I used a full cup of flour because it's gluten-free, and it just gave it a little more stability, and I did just a solid 1/2 cup of oil. I also let it bake a little bit longer. It's a super moist cake, and it didn't feel like it was overbaked at all. She also has another recipe I saw that I haven't tried yet with plum and fennel, which is the same cake, which I bet tastes delicious. The cake is really just an amazing base, and I bet there's just a lot of different combinations that would taste really good with this. So I'm looking forward to trying them all. All right. Thank you for watching this one. See you next time.